Hey, greetings and welcome back to the channel. And today we're going to do a two-part series with Weaviate, an AI-powered vector database that you can use any media to search for any media. Please like, share, and subscribe, and reach out to me in the comment section for any help, tips, and suggestions. So what is a vector database? So there's three things going on here: dimensions, AI, and database. So in our world, right, there's three dimensions: length, width, and height. If you take this image here, store it to our database, right, it's going to have some length to it, right? It's going to be smaller in terms of height, and then depth, it's going to be zero at all, right? In a vector database, there's over 10,000 dimensions at least to make it useful, meaningful, right? Don't think of these dimensions as directions in space, think of them as characteristics. So this image, like I said about its length, width, and height, it has more dimensions, such as brightness. So this image is not very bright, and it'll score low on the brightness dimension. But if I take away that, enable it, then and save this image, then it scores higher, right? Same thing with technology. So right now, this page is also focused on technology, so it scores on a higher dimension, right? But now, if it were to deal with something with food, right, that would go into your AI prompt, similar to prompts that you put in for ChatGPT. If we're looking for food, right, this image won't come up because this doesn't score high in the food and recipe category, that food recipe dimension and food recipe column. So as you see here, right, as there's over 10,000 dimensions, they represent columns, and all these values are stored 0 through 1, which has a meaning. In like your regular SQL, you have data stored, but it might not be relationship to the column. It might be related to the value itself. But here, these values are stored 0 through 1, so that the higher a value is, the more likely it is to have that certain characteristic, and the lower it is to 0, the more likely it is to be opposite, right? So with that, let us go into the tutorial that we have here. So what we want to go ahead and do is, if we don't have Docker, we want to install Docker. Before we move on to the next steps, we're going to need Docker for this tutorial. And don't worry, Docker is very lightweight. And after that, we're going to clone over this compose, running this command, right? And then we're going to start up the Docker Kubernetes cluster, right? And we might have some issues about port 8080. Let's try to see if that's going to be the case for us here, right? While that runs, let's go ahead and set up Weaviate by setting up our virtual environment, activating it, and installing all of our dependencies in that virtual environment. Right, so while that goes, we could start working on our code. So let us open up the manager. And just a brief side note, right? In API development, it's known as controllers, services, and handlers, right? We consider them in our development here at Windmill Code as endpoints, handlers, and managers. Your managers are going to be your service. And whenever you're dealing with third-party applications and you want to bring into your application, you want them to have it as a separate entity like this, so all the crazy logic could happen here, and then all your developers have to do is just call functions with one line of code, making application development easier. All right, let's try to see. So now what I want to do, I want to add this code to initialize the client, and then also I want to do is that I want to turn those spaces to 2 so that we can see better. Now we're going to go to run.py. So we need our start, and we're going to initialize the Weaviate manager. And we would like to run, but we need to wait for this container to start up here. All right, so we're connected. Right, next we want to go ahead and create a schema. And schema in a vector database is really like a table as it is in a SQL database. So let's go ahead and create that now. And then looks like it got wrapped up in here. It's definitely something I want to try to avoid. All right, so you go ahead and create our schema, and then we create our schema, in this case animals. That's what we're dealing with. So now what we would like to do, we like to import our images. Import our images. If you kind of see here, all my files, right, they're going to be in the source image folder, right? And then media type that this vector database is getting is an image, so it knows how to deal with it properly. Then all these files, images, audio, media, get converted to base 64, so it's easier, right, for the database to vectorize it. We want it vectorized so we know how to search for it. Right, so now let's do the same for audio. Right, all you see the tiny difference is going to be audio. Right, let's go ahead and import those audio files. Right, and now let's import those video files as well. And then if you guys notice, like these functions are most likely the same, so it shouldn't be too daunting, right, to get your own AI vector database that could search for any type of media going, right? As a matter of fact, I challenge you guys to make a method called import media that will take these three functions: import video, import audio, and import image, and make it generic, right? As you can see, right, you know, the parameters, right, they're mostly the same, so it shouldn't be hard to take these three methods and convert it into one. Let me guys know in the comments what you guys come up with. All right, so with that, we wanted to import our audio, and then we want to import a video. Looks like that didn't run. That's okay. We'll let that take time. So while that's happening, right, what we want to do, the first thing that starts to get meaningful here is you want to know how many objects are in the collection. There should be 26. If there's less than 26, that means the images didn't get added, right? So now I'll just add this line of code in here, just like so. And we wait for this to update. All right, good. So you don't want to add these a second time to get around to 26 so you can get images, right? So now those are images. So now what we want to do, we want to grab a helper functions. So we're going to get back. So as we query this vector database, we're going to get back images and media. We want to be able to use these helper methods in order to display them, right? So now let's search for media via text, right? So this is our function here. Go to search for media via text, right? So basically that text query, it's going to be put here, and we're going to get that information back. So let's play with it and see what happens. Our query is going to be looking for a dog with stick. So we play that. Let's see what happens. It's going to search, and lo and behold, there's a dog with a stick, right? And I think if we change up the query mouth, then we should get something different here. Right, and now I changed up the query. I said dog holding up paper wasn't specific enough, but the more descriptive that I got, the more it was able to figure out what it needs to figure out. And then definitely tell this is AI generated. I don't think the nose of a dog or the nose area of a dog would look like that. Right, let's continue. So let's search for media with an image. So basically we're going to, our input is going to be an image, and we're going to see what media comes up out of that. So now basically we have a cat here, and then basically we're going to look for the images that mostly look like a cat. Right, so we're going to see what that looks like. Right, and there we go. So our test cat, if you say test cat JPG, right, the input came in like this, and then the output came like that. I kind of liked how the colors were reversed, right? There's more like a relationship between the number one search results and the input. So let's keep going. Now let's search for media via audio. right? So we put that in, right? So we kind of see with near image, with near audio, right? And when it wants an audio file, so let's see what that looks like. Cancel this out. And then bird audio. And then I'm not sure if it could play it. Right, and it was able to guess it correctly. So that's really cool. And then last but not least, right, we want to search for media via video. And then as you can see, once again, all of these methods look the same. So I dare you guys to create a method that's more generic and it incorporates all of these. Right. For now, let's finish this tutorial off. And let's wait for the results. Right, and then even though it came out, I want to play it again. I know that it appeared. I just want to play it again to show you guys. Right, so that's a video of a meerkat. And then here's the input that came in. Say test meerkat. Oh. Right, and that's the video of the meerkat that came in. So thanks for watching, guys. Thanks for watching. Please like, share, and subscribe. And reach out to me in the comment section for any help, tips, and suggestions.